Casino is the name. And in this video, we're going to be talking about what most millionaires have in common. Over 80% of millionaires have this in common. It's actually a lot higher than that. It's really like about 90% of millionaires have this one thing in common. So if you plan on being a millionaire, then more than likely the way to go would be to at least have at least a portion of this in your portfolio. So now, what do you guys think that 90% of millionaires have in their portfolio? 90% of millionaires attribute at least a portion of this in their wealth, okay? So, it would seem like kind of like a no-brainer, but it's real estate. 90% of millionaires attribute a portion of their wealth to real estate. It's not too surprising to me, but there are a lot of different ways to look at things, because you could say 58, you could say, let's say you said the majority of millionaires have something else in common. You could say maybe they have, maybe the majority of millionaires have in common that they own a business or that they're entrepreneurs. But actually, 58% of millionaires, what I recall, are entrepreneurs. So 90% still all having, 90% being a bigger number, it's actually more likely that millionaires have real estate in common than even owning a business, which is pretty surprising to me. Think about 18%. It's either 18% or 28%. You know what? I should look it up while I'm saying it. But I think it's about 28% of millionaires have a 9 to 5. 58% are entrepreneurs. And there's another there's a couple other percentages out there. Maybe they were born into money or something like that. I don't know. But yes, so if you're planning on being a millionaire, and these guys are telling you to rent instead of own, I would say do not follow that advice, okay? You have a greater chance of being a millionaire if you own real estate. Not necessarily, it don't necessarily have to be that you own where you live, but that would be like a first step. Maybe you decide you want to stay in a condo or an apartment in the city, but you own some property outside the city. And that is offsetting what you're paying to stay in that condo. But when we're talking about net worth and valuations and buying and holding real estate, and it goes up in value over a period of time, over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, then it's a no-brainer how easy it is to see the value or your net worth rise because you own real estate. Now, owning real estate does not necessarily mean that you have $1 million in cash that you could just go look at in the bank, okay? There is a thing of what they call dead equity, or I think it's called dead equity, but you have money and you have value inside of that property, but you may not have access to the cash. You don't have access to the money unless you get a home equity line of credit or you take out a second mortgage or something like that. But you may have, let's say in this house I owe about $200,000, and it's a $400 and something thousand valuation. I have over $200,000 in equity in this house. Now, do I have $200,000 cash that I could just go buy a car with? No, it's in this house. And unless I do something to access this equity in this house, it's just kind of stuck in the house. But it still goes to the positive side of my net worth. So, you have that. But I wanted to, I know a lot of people are focused on becoming millionaires, and there's a lot of conversation about rent instead of owning, like don't buy, rent, which is crazy information to me. I don't know why people are telling people that. And maybe it makes sense if you're like staying in like a very, very expensive area, or you're gonna be trying to rent or live in some mansion that you may have to put $5 million down. And okay, that may not make sense when, you might be paying $20,000 a month and instead of paying $20,000 a month, you got to put $5 million down. Yeah, maybe having to put $5 million down, $2 million down. Maybe in those particular cases, it would make sense. Or maybe you have to save up some money in order for you to get a down payment. If you don't have it right now, then yeah, okay. But you don't want to do that over a long period of time. I was always told if you're going to be anywhere for over 2 years, then only rent. That if you're going to be anywhere longer than 2 years, it more than likely makes sense to buy. But of course, you still have to look at each individual situation and figure out if it makes sense by actually crunching the numbers. You know what I'm saying? So you can't just like look at things and say, you know what, I'm just going to do what I want to do. You kind of really do need to like sit and look at the numbers and decide whether or not it makes sense for you to buy when you're, depending on your situation. If you're in a very expensive area and it doesn't make sense to buy, or maybe you just can't afford it, I understand. But for those of you who are able to purchase and you decide not to because somebody is telling you it is a bad idea, I am here to tell you that if you want to be a millionaire, 90% of millionaires have real estate as part of their net worth. Some sort of real estate. Not necessarily saying that they got a bunch of rental properties, not necessarily saying that they got an apartment building or anything like that, but just some kind of real estate. There's a lot of different types of real estate. It may not even be residential. It could be a storage facility. It could be a parking lot that they rent out to people when there's an NFL game in the area or something like that, or they got truck parking and that parking lot has a certain value, or the land has a certain value and things like that. So it's all sorts of different ways to own real estate, or different types of real estate that you can own. And so it's not saying that, oh, well, buy a house and that's what most millionaires have in common. No, it doesn't say that. It just says 90% attribute some sort of real estate towards their net worth. And it doesn't mean that all of their $1 million net worth came entirely from real estate. It could have been a $30,000 contribution to their net worth, and then $970,000 of it could have been something else. But they at least still had that in their portfolio when there's not really like a lot of other things that everybody else has. It's a part of their net worth. Like not everybody has stocks. Not everybody has bonds. Not everybody has a business. Not everybody has, a bunch of cars or any cars. So like as far as owning, they may lease them, they may not own a car, whatever, but 90% of millionaires attribute at least a portion of their net worth to their status of being a millionaire to real estate. Yeah. So I got a few things I got to do today. I got to run out of here, but I wanted to come on here. I was just doing some research and learning about this stuff, and I was like, you know what? Let me get on here and talk about this, because I know it's a lot of people out here who want to be millionaires and things like that. And like, let's say real estate. Real estate has been a great contribution to my overall net worth. You know what's weird? I went to the bank yesterday. I think it was yesterday. I went to the bank yesterday, and I could see my net worth to the bank in the system. Like I'm sitting there talking to the lady. I was getting some documents notarized, and while I was there getting some documents notarized, they had my account pulled up on the screen, but at the angle that she was sitting, I could see my valuation, and I could see how they value my houses and my accounts and everything, and I could actually see my net worth to the bank. And it was pretty interesting to see it like in that kind of format. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, so net worth does not mean that you have the actual cash either. I just want everybody to understand you could be a millionaire and have no money, like no cash. You can be a real estate millionaire, and you could be what they call land rich and cash poor. Okay, I know plenty of people who have land and houses and things like that, but they have no actual money, right? But that's not how you value. looking at the actual cash on hand value is not what determines if somebody is a millionaire. There's plenty of people who are millionaires in land that's maybe passed down or that they acquired in some kind of way, but they have no money in their account. They have no way of developing the land. They have no way to fix anything around the house. They have no way of financing another structure on their property that could maybe generate money or that they can maybe live in, but they have the land. It's a very different thing. So you might know some guys who might be millionaires because maybe you know their family like left them a bunch of land. Now that land value might be $1 million land value, and that person may not have even a car, and they might be walking every day and they're struggling to pay the taxes, which might not be that, not that much in retrospect to the volume of the estate that they may own because of family or whatever. And that person might be dusty every day, but they could still be a millionaire. So there's that, right? Yeah, so if you plan on being a millionaire, just remember 90% of millionaires have this as part of their portfolio. Now, there is a 10% that don't have any real estate. And you could be in that 10% if you so choose. So I always say, let's do the shortest path, or let's do what has been working over time the most. Like, do I want to go against the grain, or do I want to, follow if it's already laid out and you can see how you can get to being a millionaire, and your goal is to be a millionaire. Maybe your goal isn't to be a millionaire. Maybe your goal isn't even to be financially successful. Maybe you just want to live your life and you don't care about money and you just want to chill on the beach, and that's perfectly fine. But if you are focused on, yes, I want to be a millionaire, I want to set my family up for generations, I want to do this, I want to do that, then real estate is one of the ways that the masses of those people who have done those things, 90% of them have real estate as part of their portfolio. That's all I was really coming on here to say. Make sure y'all smash the like button. Follow me on Instagram @KINGCASINO and the number 1. You feel me? Anyway, right now you're watching Casino as a Name. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and we out.